In these final moments, Yukio Seki's hand hovered over the controls, a breath caught in his lungs, a pause pregnant with hesitation. Now rewind. A few days earlier, on a sunlit morning at the Kanoya airbase, Yukio Seki walked the tarmac with measured steps. He was a kamikaze pilot, a role steeped in honor and duty. The mission was clear: to sacrifice himself for the Empire to become a human bomb. Yet beneath the veneer of unwavering resolve, a storm brewed within. Fear and duty tangled in his mind, each vying for dominance. Archival footage and veteran accounts paint a complex picture of these young men, driven not just by nationalistic fervor, but by deep personal conflict. I am the weapon, yet I feel the weight. Days before the mission, Seki sat in his quarters, surrounded by letters and quiet meditation. The gravity of his task was undeniable. It was not just the finality of death that loomed, but the choice, an act that had to be committed without falter. The unit diaries reveal the camaraderie among the pilots, yet each knew their journey was a solitary path. The roar of engines preparing for takeoff was both a call and a dirge, echoing their silent vows. As the moment approached, Seki's resolve was tested. The decision to dive, to embrace the end, required more than courage. It demanded a surrender of self. It was this tension that filled the cockpit, that held his hand above the controls, a hesitation that spoke volumes in a language of silence. For those who seek to understand the human heart in war, to grasp the delicate balance of fear and duty, subscribe to our careful, human-centered reconstruction. Witness the moments where history and humanity intertwine. In the dim pre-dawn of the airbase, the chill clung to Yukio Seki's skin. The horizon, a thin line of indigo, promised another day of relentless duty. Seki stood by his aircraft, a sleek machine of aluminum and canvas, its propeller poised to cut the sky. The ground crew moved with practiced efficiency, their faces set in stoic determination, each task a ritual that held the weight of impending sacrifice. When you are the blade, you must forget the hand that wields you. Records suggest that on the eve of his mission, Seki's outward composure masked an internal dialogue fraught with doubt. He had been trained to see his aircraft as an extension of himself, a weapon to be wielded with precision. Yet, the act of surrendering to the dive was a leap into the unknown, a relinquishment of control that defied his instincts. Veteran accounts describe how pilots like Seki often grappled with the concept of duty intertwined with the human fear of oblivion. The command to prepare came as the first light broke. With it, the airbase buzzed with a somber energy, the collective heartbeat of men readying for their final flight. Seki's squadron gathered for a briefing, the room filled with the rustle of maps and the quiet murmur of last words exchanged. The logistics were clear: a formation to breach enemy defenses, a target that loomed large across the sea. Yet, as the briefing concluded, the silence that followed was a testament to the personal battle each pilot faced. As Seki climbed into the cockpit, the world outside seemed to recede. The canopy closed with a metallic click, sealing him in a cocoon of solitude. The instruments glowed softly in the half-light, their steady pulse a reminder of the task ahead. The engine roared to life, a visceral force that vibrated through the frame and into his bones. It was here, in this suspended moment, that the weight of his decision settled heavily upon him. For those intrigued by the human stories behind military history, we invite you to engage with our series. Comment on the complexities of duty and fear, or subscribe for more intimate explorations of the warrior psyche. As the light shifted from dawn to day, the squadron took to the sky. The radio crackled with coordinates, a voice guiding them toward their destiny. The sky above the Pacific was a vast expanse of shifting clouds and restless winds. As the squadron climbed, the sun cast an ethereal glow on the ocean below, a canvas of endless blue. Yukio Seki felt the vibrations of the aircraft through his bones, a rhythmic pulse that matched his own heart. Each breath was deliberate, measured, a ritual to anchor him amid the chaos. The engine's roar was a constant, drowning out the world, yet within the confines of the cockpit, another kind of silence prevailed. A silence where thoughts lingered and doubts whispered. The sky is vast, but my path is narrow. As the formation moved toward their target, the radio crackled with updates, coordinates, enemy positions, and a reminder of the mission's gravity. Records suggest that Seki, like his fellow pilots, relied on these coordinates as a lifeline, a tether to purpose amid the overwhelming vastness. Veteran accounts detail how the sky, both liberating and oppressive, challenged even the most resolute minds. The visibility was clear, yet the horizon felt distant, as if inviting introspection. The flight path required precision. The squadron adjusted their course with practiced movements, each pilot a link in a chain of resolve. Below, the ocean rippled with the wind's caress, a reminder of the depths waiting beneath. Archival footage shows these maneuvers as a dance of discipline, a testament to training that masked the human frailty beneath. Yet, the strain of the task was evident in the tension that gripped each man, as if the weight of destiny settled on their shoulders. Seki's focus was unwavering, yet his mind was not immune to the specter of what lay ahead. The moment of the dive loomed large, a point of no return that required more than just skill. It demanded an acceptance of fate, a release of earthly ties. Some argue that the pilot's faith in their mission and in something greater was a fragile shield against the fear of oblivion. The day stretched on as the squadron approached their objective. The radio grew quiet, the only sound now the hum of engines and the wind song. It was in this suspended moment that Seki's resolve was tested, where the mechanics of duty met the human heart's rebellion. For those captivated by the human element in the machinery of war, we encourage you to delve deeper into these stories. Comment on the balance of discipline and doubt, or subscribe for more reflections on the warrior's journey. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the cockpit, the radio crackled once more, a signal that the final maneuver was near. Maps were folded shut and focus sharpened as the mission continued its inexorable path. The sun dipped toward the horizon, casting a golden hue across the Pacific expanse. The squadron held formation, engines thrumming in unison as they cut through the air. Yukio Seki's grip on the controls was firm, yet his mind danced on the edge of tranquility and turmoil. Each pilot was a solitary figure in the sky, linked by radio chatter and shared purpose. Beneath them, the ocean shimmered like liquid glass, its beauty a stark contrast to the conflict above. The world narrows when destiny calls. Approaching the target, Seki felt the weight of the mission press down. Veteran accounts describe this moment as both liberating and confining, a paradox where the vast sky met the narrowness of choice. The radio crackled, a voice relaying final instructions, each word a thread weaving them toward their fate. The air was electric, charged with the tension of impending sacrifice. Visibility was clear but deceptive. Clouds gathered like specters, ready to obscure the path at any moment. The squadron adjusted their course, minor corrections in a grand choreography dictated by the elements. The wind's chill seeped through the cockpit, a reminder of the fragile barrier between man and machine. Archival footage captures these maneuvers, a dance of precision amidst chaos, demanding focus that bordered on obsession. Seki's breathing was steady, a ritual of control amid the storm within. It was a technique honed in training, a way to anchor the mind, even as the heart raced ahead. Some argue that this focus masked a deeper conflict, a struggle between duty and the instinct to survive. The act of surrendering to the dive required more than just physical readiness. It demanded mental clarity, a state elusive in the face of mortality. As the squadron neared their objective, the radio fell silent. Each pilot was left with their thoughts, alone in the buzzing solitude of their cockpits. The coordinates were etched in their minds, yet the path was fraught with uncertainty. Records suggest that in these final moments, some found solace in their faith, while others grappled with doubt and fear. For those seeking to uncover the layers of human emotion and warfare, we invite you to explore further. Comment on the intersection of discipline and doubt, or subscribe to witness these intimate moments of choice. The sky darkened as the sun slipped beneath the horizon, casting long shadows over the ocean. The radio crackled once more, a signal that the moment of decision was upon them. Each pilot braced for the final maneuver, steeling themselves for the dive that awaited. As evening descended and shadows deepened over the Pacific, the squadron tightened their formation. The aircraft hummed like a swarm, engines synchronized in a relentless chorus. The sun had slipped beneath the horizon, leaving a twilight glow that softened the edges of the world. Yukio Seki's cockpit was a dimly lit sanctuary, the controls familiar yet imbued with the gravity of his mission. The heart races, but the mind must still. The target loomed ahead, a formidable battleship outlined against the fading light. Veteran accounts describe this moment as a crucible of focus and fear, where every maneuver felt both precise and perilous. The radio crackled sporadically, dispatching coordinates and affirmations, a lifeline of sound threading through the silence. Each pilot adjusted course, their aircraft a solitary vessel in the vast expanse. The ocean below was a restless mirror, reflecting the weight of the sky. Clouds gathered on the horizon, a harbinger of uncertainty, ready to obscure the path at any moment. Some argue that these pilots, including Seki, found themselves battling not just the enemy, but the elements, each gust of wind a challenge to their resolve. The cockpit canopy, a thin layer of glass, was all that separated Seki from the void beyond. Inside, his breathing was deliberate, a ritual to steady the nerves, a technique to anchor the soul. It was a rhythm learned in training, a way to maintain clarity under immense pressure. Yet, beneath the veneer of control, there lay a cauldron of conflicting emotions. The dive required more than just mechanical precision. It demanded the relinquishment of fear and acceptance of fate. As the squadron approached the target, the radio fell silent once more. Each man was left to wrestle with his thoughts, the solitude of the cockpit amplifying the internal struggle. Records suggest that some pilots found solace in the camaraderie of their mission, while others were haunted by the specter of doubt. The decision to dive was imminent, a choice that teetered on the edge of destiny. For those fascinated by the human stories within the machinery of war, we encourage you to comment on the delicate balance of fear and duty, or subscribe for more intimate explorations of the warrior's psyche. The sky continued to darken, the last vestiges of light slipping away. The radio crackled again, a signal cutting through the quiet, a reminder that the moment of decision was at hand. As the map was folded and tucked away, Seki prepared for the dive, the culmination of duty and doubt intertwined. The Pacific sky, once a canvas of turbulent clouds, now lay painted with the soft hues of dusk. The squadron, a distant memory, had disappeared into the horizon. Yukio Seki's cockpit, now empty and silent, was a place of profound stillness. The ocean below, reflecting the last light of day, seemed to hold its breath, waiting. The air, once charged with anticipation, now carried the faintest whisper of what had transpired. I was meant to fall, but I chose to rise. In the aftermath, the silence was almost overwhelming. Veteran accounts and unit diaries offer a glimpse into the minds of those who remained, pilots who returned with stories unfinished. Seki's hesitation, a moment where fear and duty collided, illuminated the human element in a mission that demanded the ultimate sacrifice. This reconstruction sheds light on the complexity of Seki's choice, his refusal to complete the dive, an act of defiance against a predetermined fate. Yet much remains uncertain. Did he see a future beyond the mission, or did doubt simply hold him in its grasp? Some argue his decision was a momentary lapse, while others see it as a profound rejection of his role. The ethical and emotional costs of these missions ripple through time. Each pilot carried the weight of expectations and the burden of memory. The responsibility to honor their stories rests with us, those who seek to understand the delicate balance of fear and duty. The landscape of war is not just shaped by battles fought, but by the inner struggles of those who stood at the edge of destiny. Today's exploration of Yukio Seki's moment of hesitation invites reflection on the human heart's rebellion against its own narrative. In the quiet of the cockpit, where one man chose not to follow the path laid before him, we find a story of resilience and introspection. If careful, human-centered reconstructions matter to you, subscribe and leave the one detail you think changes everything.